Stretching before you lift might be making you weaker. I know that sounds backwards. You've been told your whole life to stretch before you train. Touch your toes, hold it, get loose. But here's the thing. When you hold a long stretch on a cold muscle and then go straight into a heavy set, you can actually walk in weaker than if you'd warmed up with movement instead. And that's only half the problem, because most guys are either doing that or skipping the warm-up completely and lifting cold. Both of those are costing you. Your first set feels stiff, weak, a little shaky, and you blame yourself. It's not you, it's your warm-up. So in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you what a warm-up is actually for, why the old way is working against you, and the exact routine I use. 3 simple moves, plus the one step almost everybody skips, that makes your first set feel as strong as your third. Here's the routine before we break it down. Band rotations for the shoulders, an easy push-up for pushing, bodyweight squats for the legs, then ramp-up sets for your first big lift. That's it. Now let me show you why it works and how to do each part right. No fluff, no stretching for 10 minutes. Just a warm-up that actually does its job. Let's start with what a warm-up is actually supposed to do, because once you understand this, everything else makes sense. A warm-up should not make you tired. It should make your first working set feel stronger. That's the whole point. It's not a workout. It's not a stretching session. It's a primer. Its only job is to get your body ready to lift more, not to drain you before you start. Now, most people get this wrong in one of 2 ways. The first group skips it completely. They walk in, load the bar, and grind out a cold first set. Stiff joints, weak numbers, and one of the easiest times for your form to break down, right at the start. The second group goes too far the other way. They spend 10 minutes on long static stretches, and they walk into their first set already drained and weirdly weaker. That second one is the part nobody talks about, so let me explain it. When you hold a long static stretch, reaching down and holding it for 30, 40 seconds on a cold muscle, you can temporarily reduce that muscle's power and strength for that session. Think of it like a spring. A spring works because it's tight and ready to snap back. Stretch it out, hold it there, and for a little while, it's just loose. That's your muscle walking into your first heavy set. Now, I'm not telling you stretching is bad. It's not. Static stretching is genuinely useful. It's just in the wrong place. Save the long holds for after your workout, when your muscles are warm and you're trying to cool down and improve your flexibility. Before you lift, you don't want to lengthen the muscle and quiet it down. You want to wake it up. So if long stretching is the wrong way to prepare, what's the right way? Here's the idea that changes everything. The best warm-up isn't stretching. It's rehearsing the workout before the workout gets heavy. That's it. You prepare the exact muscles and movements you're about to use. Lighter, easier, but the same patterns. And there's real logic to why this beats stretching every time. 3 things happen the moment you start moving. First, your body temperature goes up. Warm muscles contract harder and faster than cold ones. That's literally what warm up means, and a stretch held in place doesn't do it. Movement does. Second, your nervous system switches on. Rehearsing the actual movement tells your brain and your muscles to start firing together. So when the heavy weight shows up, the connection is already awake. Third, you groove the pattern. Doing a lighter version of the exact movement teaches your body the path before it has to do it under load. Warm, switched on, and rehearsed. That's a body that's ready to lift. So here's how you do it. 3 moves, then the step everyone skips. Start with your shoulders. They're one of the most commonly irritated areas for lifters, and almost everything you do hits them. Pressing, pulling, chest, back. Grab a light resistance band. 2 movements. First, external rotations. Tuck your elbow into your side, bend it 90 degrees, and rotate your forearm out against the band. 10 to 15 each arm. Then pull aparts. Arms straight out in front. Pull the band apart until it reaches your chest and squeeze your shoulder blades. 15 reps. This wakes up the small muscles that control your shoulder. You're not trying to get tired here. You're trying to make the shoulder feel ready. Next, an easy push-up to rehearse the pushing pattern. My preferred version is a decline push-up. Feet up on a bench or a low step. But honestly, do whatever fits you. Decline, normal, or on your knees. 5 to 8 reps. And this is important. Do the easiest version that lets you move smoothly. Never anywhere close to failure. The goal is to wake the muscles up, not exhaust them. You should finish warm, not winded. This gets your heart rate up and rehearses a pushing pattern that your chest, shoulders, and triceps are about to use under load. Last move, bodyweight squats. 10 to 15, slow and controlled. Go as deep as you comfortably can, then stand tall at the top. This preps your hips, knees, and ankles all at once, and it grooves the squat pattern before you put any real weight on your back. That's it. Shoulders ready, push pattern rehearsed, squat pattern rehearsed, under 5 minutes. And all you need is a band. But here's the step almost everybody skips, and it might be the biggest reason your first heavy set feels stiff. After those 3 moves, you don't jump straight to your heavy working weight. You bridge the gap with ramp-up sets. Here's what that means. Say you're squatting, and your working weight is 2 plates. You don't walk up and load 2 plates cold. You start with the empty bar, then you add a little. Do a few reps, add more, do a couple more. You climb until you reach your working weight. By the time you hit your heavy set, you've already rehearsed that exact movement 4 or 5 times. Lighter, but identical. You're telling your nervous system exactly what's coming. That's the difference between a first set that feels shaky and a first set that feels locked in. You're not jumping into heavy, you're rehearsing your way up to it. So let's put the whole thing together, start to finish. Before every workout, 10 to 15 band rotations for the shoulders, 5 to 8 easy push-ups for the push pattern, 10 to 15 bodyweight squats for the legs, then ramp-up sets into your first big lift, a few minutes every session. And the ramp-up changes a little depending on what you're training. If you're benching, empty bar first, then add weight in 2 or 3 jumps until you hit your working weight. Your shoulders are already prepped from the band work, so you'll feel solid. If you're squatting, this is the one that needs the most ramp-up. Empty bar, then climb in steady jumps. Your hips, knees, and back all need to feel the weight getting heavier gradually, not all at once. If you're deadlifting, start light and build in bigger jumps. It's a heavy lift by nature, so those build-up sets matter even more before your top set. And one more thing, save your long, static stretches for after the workout. That's when they actually help. Quick, rapid-fire checklist of what to stop doing. Don't skip the warm-up and lift cold. Your first set is your weakest and the most likely to feel stiff and shaky. Don't do long, static stretching before you lift. Save it for after. Don't turn the warm-up into a workout. Tired before your first set means you did it wrong. Don't jump straight to your heavy weight. Ramp up to it. And don't warm up half your body. Prep what you're actually about to train. 5 fixes. That's the whole checklist. So here's the whole thing in one breath. A warm-up shouldn't tire you out. It should make your first set feel stronger. Skip the long, static stretching before you lift. Instead, rehearse. Band rotations for the shoulders, an easy push-up for the push, bodyweight squats for the legs. Then ramp up to your working weight instead of jumping into it. Save the stretching for after. That's a warm-up that actually does its job. Try this before your next workout and pay attention to how your first set feels. I think it'll surprise you. And do me a favor, comment warm-up and tell me honestly, were you a skipper or an overstretcher?